Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 797 to 800. So yeah, we're doing quite a few episodes today to end out this week. And the reason is I just didn't want to end off on 799. I didn't want to end off right before 800 and have to start 800 with the next one. I would rather end off on 800. I don't know, maybe it's a little OCD kind of thing going on here. So yeah, 4 episodes this time instead of just 3. Um, it's not too big of a deal though, because with the One Piece anime, honestly, a lot of the episode is recap and opening and all that. There is a lot of stuff before the episode. Like there's 5.5 minutes worth of content before the episode actually begins every time, approximately. Um, but yeah, so last we left off, we were in a little bit of a pickle. Carrot and presumably Chopper has been captured by one of Big Mom's daughters, Charlotte Brûlé. Brûlé has a devil fruit power that allows her to conjure mirrors out of thin air and store things within them in a literal mirror dimension. um, we saw her capture Carrot this way, but we didn't actually see the end to Chopper fighting because Nami left to get help from Luffy while Chopper was still fighting. We can presume he was captured too, but we didn't actually see it. Um, so Nami finds Luffy, who's been capturing all the fakes, the mirror clones. Um, and they end up talking to the giant who's down in the ground, who buried himself in the ground. And we find out he was apparently Big Mom's husband. So that's interesting. I wonder if we'll get more on that going forward in these episodes. I presume we would have to. Meanwhile, we have Sanji, who is dealing with his family. Most specifically, his father, Vinsmoke Judge. Judge has basically admitted at this point that he does not care in the slightest for Sanji, and that the only reason that he is forcing him back here to marry Pudding is to forge this alliance with Big Mom in order to strengthen Germa 66. He sees Sanji as a weak link and honestly barely even sees him as family, as his son. So Judge sees him basically as a sacrifice here, as a tribute for the future of Germa 66. Something he basically blatantly said he would never have even considered with any of his other children. Which I only know 2 of them by name. I think there's another one. I know there's Reiju and Yanji. Yanji's the green-haired one, Reiju's the girl. But I don't think I know the blue-haired one's name yet. Did we see him yet? Outside of in the flashback? I'm not sure. And I think there's a red-haired one too, actually, now that I think about it. So there's a couple that we actually haven't fully met. But yeah. This is turning out to be really interesting. They had a flashback to Chef Seth, which I really appreciate because Chef Seth is Sanji's true daddy. He's awesome. And having watched the Baratier arc a couple times again recently, it's like, yeah, it's very clear where Sanji's love for a father figure lies. And rightfully so, because Vinsmoke Judge is a piece of shit. But then we also have Brook and Pedro. They have started to infiltrate the kingdom on their own little spy mission, and they have found out that Jinbei has given in to Big Mom and not defected like he was planning to. Because as we remember in the past, he was talking to Big Mom about leaving, and she's like, "You can leave, but you have to leave a piece of yourself here." And there was like, I think there was even a roulette wheel that he had to spin. It's like, oh, like you could lose an arm or an ear or an eye or something like that. It is so messed up. Um, so I guess he chose not to take the deal and chose to remain with her for the time being. So that's interesting. I wonder what more we're going to see with that. Um, Maybe in these upcoming episodes, maybe not. We also saw a little bit of stuff with Capone Beige. Um, he presumably, from what we saw, it looks like he shot Peckham's right off the cliff. But I'm still thinking he didn't. I think Peckham's is alive. I think it was all set up and that Peckham's took the fall. That it was all a ruse to trick Big Mom's associates, and that this was, and that they're working together. Now, I'm not going to say Capone Beige is flat out 100% a good guy, but I don't think that he is straight up working for Big Mom either. I don't think he's on her side either. He's kind of doing his own thing. I feel that's how I interpret it so far, at least. I definitely don't think Peckham's is dead. Because again, that was a very random scene in the middle of an episode, and I just feel like Peckham's, who at this point has had some level of importance as a character, would not be given a kind of just offhanded death like that. It just seems like too little. Also, at the end of the last episode, there was this other guy coming. I don't remember his name, but he was apparently a major player. Um, so that fight's probably going to happen. But yeah, now Luffy, Nami, and when Chopper and Carrot are freed, them as well have two enemies to deal with, both Brule and this new guy. So yeah, a lot is going down, and there's just even more to come. I know that this arc goes until like near the end of the 800s. It's definitely not as long as Dressrosa, or I don't know. I think it might be around the same length as Alabasta. I'm not actually sure, but it's definitely no. I don't. I think it's longer than Alabasta. Trying to remember how long Alabasta is. um, Off the top of my head, I'm not good with that. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely not as long as some of the other arcs in the New World have been. But I'm definitely excited to see where this leads. There's a couple things I do know, but I think we're still quite a bit off from when those come up. And that's just because of how long it's been since I've watched, and just, you hear things. It's impossible not to with a series like this. But I don't know the context behind them or any of that. I just know them. And I also know that there's a smaller arc in between this and Wano, which I'm actually more excited for than Wano, if I'm being completely honest, just because I know what it's about. Again, I don't know the context or anything, but I know what it's about. And I'll leave it at that, just in case anyone else is not uh, up to date on everything. Um, but yeah, either way, we're going to get this started and hope for the best with these 4 episodes. I'm very excited to see where this goes. This arc has the makings of being one of the great arcs of this series, if they do it right. There's a lot going on. But to be fair, Dressrosa also had a shit ton of stuff going on, and Dressrosa was fantastic. So, again, it just depends on how it's handled. Um, and I'm very much hoping that it's handled well. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, um, let's just get this going and find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, Everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so there obviously 4 episodes, a lot happened, so I'm probably going to forget about something. I'm probably not going to be able to mention everything. That's why, as always, I do tend to try and get at least most of my initial thoughts out while I'm reacting. But general gist of it, I loved these episodes. I loved a lot of the stuff that was going on, um, and there was just some really great callbacks as well. So let's talk about these episodes kind of like by sections in a way. So the first part I want to talk about is the fight against Brule and Cracker, though mostly Cracker, because Brule appears again, and we get to see like more of Chopper and Carrot because of it, especially inside her mirror dimension, which is pretty interesting. Very Alice in Wonderland inspired designs. um, but yeah, it's like most of it is against Cracker, who has just arrived. Cracker is one of the Sweet Three generals. Used to be Sweet Four, but the Mad Monkey Rouge, one of the worst generation, managed to defeat one. Though Cracker ended up taking him out shortly after, and I guess we just don't know what happened to him since then. Um, so yeah, Cracker, as we first see him, is this giant of a man, really big, really huge, really strong. Uses this sword called a pretzel sword, which is apparently one of a kind, but he can copy it with his devil fruit ability, which we find out is the ability to create, shape, and mold, and pretty much do anything with biscuits, with crackers, basically. Um, so yeah, that's really interesting. Because as I said in the reaction, when you first hear about a devil fruit power like that, you'd think, oh, that's kind of weak, that's kind of silly, that's kind of stupid, even. But when you actually see it in action and see the different ways he can utilize it to become so strong, it's actually like, holy shit, this dude is actually really, really powerful, and his ability is actually pretty strong. And it's kind of the same thing that happened with Luffy. Like when I first started watching this series and I saw Luffy's powers like stretching, it's like, oh, that's a little silly. I mean, not terrible. I mean, Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four has the same ability. But it's like all things considered, it's not like the strongest kind of ability you would think of. But you see all the different ways he can utilize it as the series goes on in all these different new and exciting ways, especially once the gear upgrades start coming in. And it's like, oh, no, his power is actually exceptionally strong. Because that's the thing. Oda is so creative coming up with all these devil fruit abilities, but it's not the ability itself that is the best part about them. It's how Oda utilizes them with the characters. Um, for example, take Smoker from the Marines. His power, he can turn into and control smoke. Seems very simple, very basic. But then the things he can do with it, he can power a motorcycle with his smoke alone. He can use it to fly. Obviously, since he's a Logia type, he can turn his entire body into it, so he can avoid most hits and stuff. It's like, all things considered, it's an extremely strong ability that maybe at first glance isn't super interesting. And then you see some of the more interesting devil fruit abilities that you would think would be really OP, something more in the lines of, hell, Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi, the Chop Chop fruit. You would think that would actually be really strong because of just thinking about how it could be utilized to, well, do stuff like we see Buggy do in the Orangetown arc, like stab opponents in the back and shit. And it's like, yeah, we see him do stuff like that. But because of who Buggy is as a character and how he utilizes his ability, it doesn't come across as one of the more stronger abilities in this series, despite initially it seeming like it could be. And that is the magic of the devil fruits in One Piece. It's not about what the ability on the surface level is. It's about its utilization. Oda is a genius at that. One of the many things he's a genius at, along with like character and world building, stuff like that. But either way, so Luffy is pulling out all the stops. As Luffy says to Nami, he does not hold back in a fight. He only knows how to fight all out. My stupid fucking camera. Um, this was happening during the reaction too. At least this is still not during the reaction. Let me fix this real quick. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, Luffy is not holding back anything. He's using his strongest moves. He goes gear second, he does gear third, and eventually he has to go gear fourth, which ends up working. Gear fourth is so much of a higher level that he breaks through Cracker, but we find out that that was just a Biscuit created armor using Cracker's Devil Fruit ability, and that the real Cracker has been inside it all along. And because of his ability, kind of being able to form endless suits of armor, endless warriors like this, it seems almost like he'd be unstoppable. Luffy can't get to him quick enough to be able to actually do damage to the real Cracker. So Luffy's actually legitimately struggling here. Nami, meanwhile, while all this is happening, rescues and helps out Pound. She ends up using her climb attack thanks to Pound helping her, and she's able to shock and incapacitate Brule, at least for now. They then escape, and we find out that Pound is the father of Chiffon and Lola. Chiffon is Capone Beige's wife, and Lola is her sister, who we met for the first time in Thriller Bark, which was pre-time skip, so quite a long time ago. We get some flashbacks to Lola, which was very much appreciated. I love getting flashbacks to previous arcs, especially pre-time skip stuff at this point, because it's just such good memories for me. As I said in the reaction, just as a longtime watcher, it's great memories to get back into this stuff, which is why I've been huge into One Piece a lot lately, because I've been watching some reactions on YouTube from reactors like AJ Rich and oh god, what is the name? I can't think of his name at the moment for the life of me. Ruffles TV. I've been watching their reactions to One Piece and getting back into these arcs and stuff, these older arcs that I haven't seen in a long time, and it's like it's reinvigorated my love for One Piece, which obviously one of the big reasons why I've been why I started reacting to the series again on the channel and everything after I reacted to the movie. So yeah, I'm very much into this, more so than ever. But yeah, seeing those flashbacks was great, and then pulling out the Viver card she got from Lola all that time ago, Nami realizes that yeah, Lola's mom mentioned back then is Big Mom, and that the Viver card, because it's soul paper, has like the aura of Big Mom around it, and everyone around is scared of it. All of the trees and flowers and everything that Big Mom had created using her devil fruit power, even Randolph and the Crane, I don't know if the Crane has a name, but even they're afraid of it. By the way, I love Randolph. Like Randolph, like when he's first introduced, it's like this musketeer-looking rabbit dude who's just chasing after them and everything. But then he ends up being fucking hilarious. He's just really fucking hilarious, blaming everything on the Crane. It's like, oh, it was his idea, and the Crane's like, no, it wasn't, you dumbass. Stupid Karen. Let's try this again. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. I really don't know why that's happening, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I really enjoy Randolph. So yeah, Nami starts lording this over them and starts using it to make all the plans and stuff like act in servitude towards her, although they're trying to deny it, trying to ignore it. But yeah, it's really, really fun. Brooke and Pedro, not much happens on their section of these episodes. They're just continuing to infiltrate, and they even get inside one of the Cracker Warriors that is guarding the chateau. That's about all we see. Same with Big Mom. All we really see is her getting ready to welcome the Vinsmoke family. There's really just not much to it. Um, we do see a little more of Sanji though. We see him just contemplating things, just really getting upset by the situations and all. But the big scene there in this last episode was integral. So Nichiji and Iji, the two oldest siblings of the Vinsmoke family, they come back after their trip to the Brock Kali Island. Um, and we see they're just as much of dicks, just as much of pieces of shit as the rest of the family. But they're back, and they also just start attacking and emotionally abusing and being pieces of shit towards Sanji. Um, but things continue, and they go to have their dinner. Ichiji, I believe, is the one. Is it? I think no. Ichiji's the red one. Was it the blue one? Was it Niji? I don't know. One of them. One of them doesn't want to eat his dinner, but Sanji's like really pressuring him and getting angry because obviously, as we know from the past, Sanji believes that you should never leave anything on your plate, even if you don't like it, because he has personally experienced starvation and stuff alongside Zeph and all. So he believes in not wasting a single bit of food. Um, so he sees that he's going to waste it and everything, and he's getting angrier and angrier. They call it the chef, who is this adorable as fuck girl who just seems really horrified, really scared, just does not want to be there. Um, he tells her to hold still and then throws the plate of food at her really hard. Which, by the way, if the plate of food had hit her and everything, and even if it shattered, which it likely would have, it wouldn't have done that much damage, all things considered. It maybe would have cut her up a bit, maybe would have knocked her back, but all things considered, it wouldn't have done that much damage. But it doesn't matter. The action alone is the big problem there. It's the fact that he would be willing to do that. It's the fact that he sees himself as is so much superior than her, sees himself as so just innately better and more important that he sees her as, well, the opposite, unimportant, completely worthless. So throwing the plate at her like that was a sense that, oh, she didn't matter to him. And Sanji, who, as we know, again, as I mentioned in the reaction, even though sometimes his chivalry can end up being kind of annoying and just way too much, and even borderline sexist at points. Let's be honest, he really heavily like sexualizes women. And I've heard many people complain about that, and hell, I've complained about it at time to time. But I still like his character overall, um, especially with all the developments we've gotten for him. But even beyond that, Sanji does have a very high sense of chivalry and believes that women should be protected. And while that is in a kind of a way outdated, he also does not in any way believe that women can't protect themselves. He knows women can protect themselves, and hell, even encourages and praises it. He fully acknowledges and even praises Nami and Robin and whatnot when they fight as well, and is all on board with it. So you have to give him credit for that. He wants to protect them, sure, but he also understands they can protect themselves. But in this situation, she's under such control by the Vinsmoke family. She was clearly not going to protect herself. She was going to take it. And it kind of brings me back to in the last reaction where we saw those two, or actually three guards, I think, who just stepped in the way and acted as human shields for Judge during his battle with Sanji. And he even impaled and killed one of them just in order to attack Sanji. And it's just, it's insane how these people are treated by the Vince Smoke family just because they're technically royalty. It's ridiculous. It's fucking disgusting and evil. And Sanji understands that. When he saw that plate being thrown at her, he moved as quick as possible to block it, to stop it from hitting her. And it's just, and he got mad. He was really pissed. You could see that. He got pissed that he would do something like that his brother would do something like that. Not that because it was his brother. He knows his brother would do shit like that, but still, you know what I mean. So yeah, there's a lot of great stuff with that too, and I can't wait to see where they go with that. Um, but yeah, this is really turning out to be one fantastic arc. I really can't wait to see where it goes with all of these different plot points. I can't wait to see how Luffy ends up being able to defeat Cracker, if he is going to need help from the trees and everything with Nami's direction, how they're going to defeat Brule, how they're going to free Chopper and Carrot, who are stuck in the Alice in Wonderland looking mirror dimension. All of these different questions. And on top of it, how the entire thing is going to be stopped with the wedding stuff, because it's basically been said at this point, if the Vince Smoke family gets to the chateau, it's over at that point. Shit. Fucking hell. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. So let me fix this just to sign off real quick. Okay. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of these episodes of One Piece, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.